It's Mudaha or someone trying out Fedora. Those are the options. That's what we got today. I'm thinking Mudaha. That's where I'm leaning. Fedora? Okay, we can do Fedora. I tried Fedora and it's amazing. Defora. Deflora? That would be a very that would be a very different thing. Why is it doing this? That's weird. Let me just go to my main account so we don't have Edge. There we go.
This is my Dell XPS from 2021.
Is that the same one you had Mint on the other week? I think it was Mint.
This is my Dell XPS from 2021. Last month, I tried out Linux for the first time as I was trying to revive it from the dead state, where it would get stuck on the boot screen and just shut off over.
Right, I remember her now. This is the girl who had a laptop that she didn't fucking clean the screen on! How difficult is it to get some fucking Windex and a paper towel and clean your screen before you make a video? Right, I do remember her. This pissed me off so much in that video.
And over again. And surprisingly, it worked. I did it. So I shared my experience in a video where many of you congratulated me for trying Linux out. But many of you also said that Mint, the version of Linux that most resembles Windows, was the wrong choice. That it's ugly and
everything's the wrong choice. Wait, is it gonna be... Is she gonna go for Fedora Workstation?
outdated. That Fedora is the best.
How did... I don't even know how you found a hat that was this small. Like, that's actually kind of impressive. That's gotta be for a child, surely.
Version of Linux, especially since I use a Mac as my main work computer. Hence, my strange choice of headgear for this video, my lady. Then I started...
There are some Fedora people that get so mad when you talk about the name. They're like, we actually used the name before the Fedora joke was around. We're not related to the Fedora. And it's just like, you look at the logos, like, are you sure? Are you sure? You look at Red Hat. Are you sure? Are you sure that you're not playing into the joke?
Started thinking, Mint is a bit old school looking. Did I make a mistake? Is Fedora really the best? Or is the grass always going to be greener?
Are you assuming her size? I'm assuming she doesn't have the head of a child, yes. Unless she has like a massive head.
On the other side. So I challenged myself. Could I replace my Mac, my main workstation, for an entire work week with Fedora without going back?
It is Gnome.
This is a serious escalation from just using Linux as a side piece. I'll be using it for almost everything now. It's sort of scary. Nonetheless, I'm going into this with an open mind. After all, I don't want to master Linux in just a day or even just a month. I want to experience it like anyone else would, which means starting from zero and figuring out what I like
and then eventually ending up on
one
Arch
distro
Linux
at a time. So after downloading, installing, and using Mint for well over a month, I'm basically a Linux expert download.
Is that that wrist rest made of fucking wood? Is that pleasant to use? Or is it like foam that looks like wood? Because if that's a wooden wrist rest, I can't imagine that's pleasant. I don't see any way that would be pleasant, at least.
Downloading, installing, and using Mint for well over a month, I'm basically a Linux expert at this point.
Yeah, you are.
Oh
That's all you need.
Was I wrong. When you open up the Fedora...
Once you use it for like 3 days, expert. It's really comfortable? Okay, if it works, it works.
Or a website, you're met with words that look like they come from another planet. But look, it's officially on version 42. Is this a sign that this is the answer to the meaning of life and the universe? This seems reassuring though. It's been through so many iterations, that means all the bugs must be squashed out.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Already. So let's just get Fedora. Oh no, not this again. Getting Fedora is...
Yeah, this is a problem that Fedora has. There is a lot of versions of Fedora. I can very easily understand how this would confuse someone.
As easy as clicking a link and downloading it. There's actually many versions of Fedora. There's Workstation, KDE Plasma. That one sounds like a cool weapon. And there's a server that runs on bare metal. Is that a euphemism for something? Metal. You also have the cloud, Core OS, and IoT, Internet of Things. And after reading all the pages explaining what each one was for, I'm stuck between Workstation, the Linux desktop
the wrong choice
for, and KDE Plasma,
the correct choice,
the next generation personal desktop. Now, I would love a which Fedora is right for you quiz, but if there's one thing I learned about Linux users...
That actually wouldn't be a bad idea. That would be a really good thing to include. Like, hey, what are you looking for? Like, what are you trying to get out of this desktop?
Myself included, is that we like the struggle. We don't want the answers handed out to us like free candy. No, we like to be in control of our own decisions. And for me, that meant choosing between beautiful and customizable. Ooh, which one? But how...
KDE. KDE is the correct choice.
How do I make that decision? Well, apparently,
you just pick
KDE Plasma is a DE, also known as a desktop environment, and Workstation is based off Gnome, another DE. A DE is basically...
This is technically... This is technically not correct anymore that it is the GNU Network Object Model Environment. This hasn't been the acronym they've used in like 20 years. You'll still find it because they never talk about it. But I think ever since GNOME separated from the FSF, they dropped that name because a lot of the people at the time didn't like the FSF anymore and they didn't want to have any like reference to the FSF.
The visual part of interacting with your computer. It affects how it looks and how it feels.
And sadly, KDE is not the cool desktop environment anymore with a K. You know it's cool because it's spelled with a K.
Mint Cinnamon, what I used before, worked great out of the box, but honestly, it was a bit ugly. The menus weren't sleek or streamlined. It looked like something out of the year 2000, and I want something for 2025 and onwards. So let's just go with the complete opposite of Mint, with the beautiful Workstation. Part of me was hesitant to move forward with the installation, not because I thought it would be hard. I've done it before. I'm usually a practical person. I don't usually want more or better or even the best. I don't own a ton of shoes or clothes.
Since it's not associated with GNU anymore, does that mean it's pronounced as Garden Gnome? You will find a mix of pronunciations amongst GNOME developers. Some will say Gnome, some say GNOME. No one actually cares. Literally no one cares. You saying GNOME number 2 makes me want to throw hands? Oh no, it's not even number 2. It's like number 7.
And I buy old refurbished tech. If Fedora doesn't work out, I would just be wasting a week. But there was something else that scared me. What if I actually do want more and I want better? And that's why I'm looking to Fedora and other distros. Is what I have just not enough for me? What if I wasn't as practical as I thought I was? Now I pushed those questions away and I continued anyways. Installation seems fairly simple. I've done it before.
You click next.
There are 4 potential download links, but which one do I get? That's when I remembered a ton of advice I got from my previous video.
The first one.
The audience said to use ChatGPT for tech help. Now I'm a little...
Ooh, I hate your audience. I fucking hate your audience. Oh my god. Okay. This is a thing a lot of people are doing nowadays. I'm not gonna hold this against her. This is her audience telling her to do things. This is what, like, super mainstream tech people are doing now. Jeopardy mentioned, ChatGPT. Let's go.
Skeptical of using AI for most tasks,
good.
But it is pretty good at browsing the internet and looking for answers. So
it is good for doing that, yeah. It's not giving you good ones.
X86_64 is the one to download. It said to use this if you have a regular laptop or desktop from the last 10 to 15 years, which I do. And
unless it's an Apple device.
Like before, I had to verify the authenticity of the ISO file.
Literally no one does this. Not a single fucking person ever does this. No one cares. You can do it, and you should do it. No one cares.
Would think that I already knew how to do this, but I struggled a little bit more than I would have liked. But I got it done. Next, Fedora comes with a media writer. Well, that's easy. I can just download the software and then load the thing up to my boot drive. Unfortunately, it didn't work on my MacBook, so I ended up using Balena Etcher again. At this point, I was pretty glad that I had previous experience with Linux, or this would have been a lot harder. Afterwards, things went relatively smooth, like life was finally on easy mode. I put in the command in the terminal to go to the UFI menu with system, control, reboot, firmware, and the command in the terminal to go to the...
I didn't know you could do this. I didn't know there was a option to boot right into the UEFI menu in systemctl. I just mashed my keys. Okay, I will I will keep that one in mind then. I'm not going to use it probably. I'm just going to mash my keys. Either way works.
UFI menu with system, control, reboot, firmware setup, and off I went. And it was just beautiful. Beautiful isn't even enough to describe it. It was breathtaking. The colors were vibrant, the date and time was dead center, and it looks like everything I had wanted in the world. Installation was simple. There were 4 steps. I went all in and did a clean, full install. And
then you realize you're on Gnome and a bunch of things don't work because it's Gnome. Like you don't have a you don't have a taskbar. Not taskbar, a fucking, what do you call it? App tray with for your things like Discord and stuff like that.
Erasing all traces of Mint Cinnamon, and when it was done, whew, I felt like I was transported in the future. Mint felt like a dinosaur. This could be endgame. But is it just a pretty face, or is there actual substance beneath the surface? Well. So Fedora even gave me a wonderful tour, although it wasn't very thorough or that helpful for that matter. I learned about the overview button, which is like the...
a lot of people will like talk about the Gnome tour. It's something that needs a lot of work. Like it's useful to have there, but it's not comprehensive enough.
Spotlight, the dock, and the mission control all in Mac, and all those features had a baby. Now I didn't understand it at the time, but the overview feature gave me great power. And with great power came great responsibility too. There was something else that felt off. A real strange feeling, like where was the minimize and maximize buttons?
There we go! There we go! Okay, now you've run into the problem. I knew it was gonna happen eventually. I fucking knew there was gonna be something that happened.
Where are my desktop icons and where is my...
Yup, here we go. She's a Mac user. Mac and Windows users, they still use desktop icons. It's basically only Linux, and yeah, it's basically only Linux that's killing it's basically only Gnome is killing desktop icons. Even Cosmic has it.
Dock. What is going on? How do I even use it? It's way different than anything I had used before.
When people say that Gnome is like macOS, what they mean is it's a very curated, specific experience. It's not actually like macOS whatsoever.
But first things first, I had to download OBS to record my screen.
That'll work.
So I opened up the terminal and typed what I knew. Sudo apt
yeah, well you are on Fedora now, so.
OBS-Studio, like on Mint, expecting it to magically download and install the software for me. But surprise, Fedora doesn't work like that. APT doesn't exist in Fedora. Apparently, instead of APT, I'm supposed to use DNF, which did not finish. After consulting ChatGPT, I replaced APT with DNF, and boom, once again, I was an elite hacker. But then I remembered something else. In my last video on Linux, I thought that you had to install programs using the command line or else it wouldn't update properly. And
yeah, I don't know where she got that idea from. I don't know who told her that.
Thousands, and yes, I actually mean many thousands of comments, told me to just use the software manager. So let's find that. Fedora has a beautiful software manager called software. Pretty obvious. Apparently the software manager is just a visual representation of the exact same thing that I was doing in the command line.
No, yes and no. If you have Flatpaks enabled, it will download I think I think in Gnome by default on Fedora, Flatpaks take priority. I'm pretty sure they take priority over RPMs. I'm not certain. I know in KDE it's not, but I'm pretty sure in Gnome they do take priority.
They're not separate things like I had thought. Now that I can record my screen, here's where the real challenge starts. Making Fedora work for what I want it to do. That means, 1, connecting it to my laptop dock and monitor setup.
Should
so
be
I
easy
can
enough.
have
Plug it
multiple
in.
monitors and a real disk setup without using just a laptop. 2, customize some keyboard shortcuts, swap out left control and left alt. And 3, get back my...
I don't know if you can do that on Gnome. You should be able to, though. Surely.
minimize button. 4, change how I access the overview feature for the same way that I use Spotlight, and make minimizing windows easier and enable window snapping. Then go on an entire week without going back to my Mac. Easy enough, right? I love how beautiful Fedora is, but can it be functional too? Is it all look?
Why is she wearing 2 watches?
No person.
I just noticed that. Is that a watch on that side? It looks like a watch. Or is this like a... Is this like a fitness tracker? What is this? It's just a health monitor. Okay, okay. Like a Whoop strap sort of deal.
Now I can find out if Fedora can actually replace my Mac or not. So first, my laptop dock. Let's plug it in, fix some problems, because...
What do we have on here? We have 4 USB, 3 USB-C. I assume that's the ones with the lightning bolt have power. DC in audio, optical, audio, whatever it is, and display port. Okay, okay.
Let's be real, there's no way that this would just magically work out of the box. So neither my monitors or the dock works, which I had expected. But for the dock, I knew the exact fix already.
Is it a it's a Thunderbolt dock, is it? Right, yeah, you got the Thunderbolt driver thingy.
And it was simple. I just had to authorize the dock in my terminal using bolt control list and then authorize.
I don't use Thunderbolt stuff, so I think a USB dock probably would just work.
The downside is I have to do this every single time I reboot my laptop. It's a real pain.
There's probably... GNOME does like auto launch stuff, doesn't it? Like it has like a way to auto launch commands. Yeah? I don't use GNOME, but I would presume it does. If not, you could probably add it as like a systemd thing. Like a systemd job.
That's an option.
Yeah.
It's a security thing, and I'm not going to turn that off. Next, the monitors. This is the difficult part. The software that my monitor hub uses is called DisplayLink and only has a Debian-based driver, which works for distros like Ubuntu and Mint, but not Fedora. This was the first step where I felt like a true beginner.
Let's see.
Distros like Ubuntu.
Before she even gets to it, DisplayLink Fedora. Okay, yeah, literally just first thing I found. DisplayLink RPM. Someone's just made an RPM version of it. Okay, yeah. Up for Fedora, CentOS, Rocky, Linux, Alma. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's see what she finds.
And Mint, but not Fedora. This was the first step where I felt like a true beginner again. Fedora looked simple in the beginning, but is support for it more limited than Mint? We'll see. But I'm sure there's many people out there who, like me, wanted to use multiple monitors with their Fedora laptop. This, however, was not as easy as my previous problems. I read a bunch of forum posts, consulted ChatGPT. However, was not as easy as my previous problems. I read a bunch.
Well, the answer's right. They're literally right there. I'm kind of confused. Like, I get that she'd be confused about how to install an RPM from a repo, but like the answer is right there. So like, the way that I would approach this if I wasn't a Linux user, right? I would look up DisplayLink Fedora. Okay, what I would do this is DisplayLink Fedora. I think a lot of people just don't really know how to use a search engine. So, DisplayLink Fedora. First thing you find, DisplayLink RPM. Okay, so we have a thing here. Fedora, how to install from RPM file. Installing RPM packages. Give me 1 second. 1 sec. There we go. It's like, okay, I have a thing right here. How do I install from an RPM file? And then it's like, okay, second thing I find, sudo DNF, the file name. There you go. That's all you need to do, right? Like, even if you don't know how it works, like, I think a lot of people genuinely don't know how to break down problems that they want to actually, like, solve, right? People use Google like ChatGPT, which is stupid. Can you help me find Fedora drivers? Right, exactly.
Bunch of forum posts, consulted ChatGPT.
I'm on Fedora 42 and I need to install the latest display link drivers to use my pluggable dual HDMI dongle. How do I do this?
Did a bunch of things in my terminal and nothing worked. Disappointment overshadowed my every action as I tried more and more potential solutions. If I couldn't use my monitors with my laptop, I would be forced to set it aside as an after-work computer. But for some reason, I suddenly felt the urge to just restart my computer, which magically fixed my problem. I had no idea what I did that worked, and
you probably installed the drivers and then it needed a reboot to load the drivers. I am almost certain that is what happened. It was like, oh, they're loaded into the kernel now you need a reboot.
And I don't think I'll ever know. It's like when your TV stops working back in the day and you just kick it a couple times and then it works. So yay, I did it. I can't help anyone else with this problem, but at least I solved it. Solving problems felt like leveling up, like I'm finally past the noob stage. I understand the terminal better, I'm comfortable using it way more than before, so I was off on my merry way with my docked setup. Now for all of the settings. At Fedora, it's clean. It's very clean. There's virtually zero bloat installed. There's barely any programs. And customizing it is so easy and so fun. I went through each setting and just set it up how I wanted.
I wouldn't say customizing a Gnome is fun, but sure, we can go with that. I think Fedora prompts you to reboot with a notification when you do stuff like kernel update. I think I'm just so used to... I'm so used to installing something and then just doing a reboot. Right? Like, that's something which... I think... You know what? I think that actually might be part of the problem. I don't remember if she said this in a prior video, talking about how you don't need to reboot Linux. But a lot of people do say this. And I wish people had this, like, just were clear in their mind that you have, like, a lot of problems in Linux you can solve without rebooting, but just reboot. Just reboot. Stop trying to solve everything by not rebooting. Just reboot. And a lot of things are gonna, like, if you install something and it doesn't work properly, just reboot. Just reboot. You don't need to fix it. Just reboot.
Displays, Bluetooth, even my notification settings. And wait, what's this? A built-in screen time feature with movement breaks? I've got to turn this one on. My Mac never cared about me like this, and maybe I need this. I need
probably it is
finally
as well.
an operating system that just cares. Most of my other work enhancements were simple and built into the settings, like changing the overview to Alt Space and swapping left Alt and Control. I did have to download a program called Tweaks to bring back the minimize.
Why do you need to download Gnome tweaks to set basic Gnome settings? Why is that not part of Gnome? If you're gonna have the option there, why do you not have it as a core part of the desktop? There's so many stupid... Like, I don't know why Gnome's like this. I really don't. Yeah, the thing is, if every single user has Gnome tweaks installed, you have completely failed, right? Like, you have a problem, and you don't want to address it, right? Great, okay, let me give you a good example. So, in Path of Exile, there used to be a thing where people would do something known as piano flasking. So flasks are your potions, they give you buffs and heals and things like that. And what people do early on is they would run their fingers constantly over the flasks to make sure they're constantly active. Like, as you're going through and killing things, you just, like, you get more charges, you just reuse the flasks. Then eventually we started using, like, auto hotkey to do it. But the devs realized, hey, this is stupid. Every single person is using auto hotkey. Every single person is pianoing their flasks. Is this good gameplay? Is this good design? They realized, no, it's stupid. Let's stop doing that. So what they did is introduce an item that let you conditionally enable your flasks. So if you get full flask charge, it runs the flask. If you get lit on fire, if like you have some status effect on you, it'll use that flask. If the flask next to it is used, it'll use that flask. So now you just have it so the flasks automatically go off and nobody is worrying about this problem. That is what Gnome Tweaks is. Gnome Tweaks is piano flasking. Gnome Tweaks is auto hotkey your flasks. It is something which every single user needs and for some reason is not a core part of the desktop. And I don't understand why.
Button, but it also came with something I didn't know I needed. That you can middle click to minimize and double click to maximize. Now I don't even have to go and press the buttons. I can just press my mouse. It's so efficient. It's so fast. I don't even think Mac has these things. And did I mention it has a window snapping built in? You just hover your windows until you see a purple shadow and then just snaps. It's beautiful. And
why is your capture lagging so much?
The only problem, maybe there's more later, is when someone else uses my laptop, they have no idea where the menus are, how to open programs or files.
Never let them use it then.
It's not like the overview button is intuitive, but once you use it, it's hard going back. Now my desktop is just clean. There's no programs, no apps, no docs, no menus, just pure wallpaper.
No programs.
There were a couple more things I needed to work though. Discord and Notion. Discord I downloaded through the software manager and it was a bit buggy, actually very buggy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, so I just bookmarked the browser version. The same thing with Notion. It doesn't offer
I'm very curious what our bugs were.
For Linux support, but it has an online version. So before I get to work, let's address the last possible elephant in the room. Gaming. Last video, I tested out gaming on Mint, and it worked, but I don't really think that's necessary. I game on my Steam Deck and never on my laptop anyway, so it wouldn't even be practical to install games on it. So work was going well. I got used to my entire setup with my laptop, and it felt natural and easy. Then something crazy happened, something that I didn't expect to happen. Midway through the week, I upgraded my CalDigit TS3 to a TS5 Plus, but unfortunately, it didn't support Windows Thunderbolt 3 laptops like my Dell XPS anymore. So I went back to my Mac for a bit to test a new dock, and that's when I realized I missed it. I missed Fedora a lot. The overview, the look, the feel, even the features that I looked for on Mac to make it like Fedora, I couldn't find, and I was officially converted. But I also didn't want to give up my Mac either. I mean, the thing was $600. I'm not just gonna push it aside and throw it to the curb. I take great pride in running the items I own into the ground. But maybe Fedora was just an initial infatuation, a mere short-term crush. It's just beautiful. Or could this turn into something more? The more I used it, the more I could sense some of Fedora's weaknesses. The first is that it took a toll on my laptop's battery life, especially compared to Mint. All those streamlinedness, the sleek transitions, the beautiful desktops.
It's also that Fedora doesn't do a... Fedora's a lot cleaner of a distro. Yeah, battery life is a problem on Linux that a lot of people, I think, have kind of forgotten about.
It comes at a cost, and that cost is battery life. So while Fedora is elegant and smooth, it's much hungrier. When I'm not plugged in, my battery life can drain from 100% to 0 within just a couple hours. But also keep in mind that this laptop is a couple years old and it was already having battery issues before this Linux journey. So I guess it's like a zombie revived from the dead. But while I would love to make this my main PC, it's a little difficult. I would have to lug around my awkward Dell charger everywhere, while my Mac can accept most USB-C chargers. Working with Fedora is simple. All I have to do is browse the internet, use Notion and Discord, and it has everything I need. Now, I definitely don't regret giving it a try. It's been a great experience. Mac has more versatility for me in my day-to-day, but that doesn't mean I won't be keeping Fedora either. I'm 100% sure I like it better than Mint. So right now, my Fedora laptop is my main workstation. work laptop. It's not attached to the dock, but it is attached to my monitors and a keyboard and mouse Bluetooth setup. While my Mac is my more portable at-home laptop. Well, how the turntables. And I've customized both laptops to make them similar.
Definitely service and process in the background help battery life. Sure, yeah. If you have less running, you are processing less. What a crazy concept.
There aren't any workflow disruptions if I switch from one to the other. I love it. But now I have another question that's been lurking around. If this is how I feel about my second Linux distro, what if the next one is even better? What if
Fedora
there's something
KDE.
out there, something more beautiful,
Fedora
more streamlined,
KDE.
and more functional?
KDE.
Can't help but wonder.
Fedora
Mint really
KDE.
was the
Do it.
gateway drug,
Do it.
getting me into
Do it.
Linux in the first place. But Fedora, I think I could stick with this a while. While I'm pretty new to Linux, I think I need to stick to this one for a while. But truly, I can't help but wonder what the next step
The installer on Fedora KDE sucks? Doesn't matter. Just click next. You see the installer for like 5 minutes. Nabara. Ren can tell you about Nabara.
the journey is. Or maybe the best distro doesn't exist. But for now, I found something that works, and that's what matters. So if you've been...
Okay, that's annoying me. Wait, why? Look at this monitor. That would annoy me every second of the day. That is not perfectly aligned. Oh, that... No, I don't like that. I really don't like that.
Afraid to get started in Linux? Don't be. It's actually super fun and an amazing educational journey. And if you've been a Linux user for a while, I'd love to hear your journey through Linux. How did you start? Where are you at now? And if you're interested in my Mint Cinnamon experience, watch this video here.
That was fun. That's the end. I'm not subbed on this channel. I don't know why. She's distro hopping. She's beginning to believe. That was fun. I do think, look, I do want to try out KDE and see what KDE is like. Just go Fedora KDE. But at the end of the day, look, if you like something, I'm not going to tell you to not use it. If you like Gnome, use Gnome. But I do think she might have a little bit less issues on the KDE side.